want to tell you about this Chinese restaurant in this elevator. Not an actual Chinese restaurant in this elevator. That would be great, but crowded. This is not a reference to the population of China, which we all know is formidable. This is a reference to a story I believe you'd like to hear, and a story I'd like to hear on account of how I always like to hear a story when I'm telling it. It can be your story too. Just you listening to the story grants you a part in the story. It's the part where a person in the story listens to the teller of the story, which makes it a relationship story about a relationship that begins in an elevator with a person telling another person a story about a Chinese restaurant. The telling possesses the quality of endorsement, meaning it is a story that includes a pitch for a Chinese restaurant, and as we know, this endorsement takes place in an elevator, making it, among other things, an elevator pitch. If you look around, you'll see it's just the two of us, as fate would have it. And fate gets to have it just the way it wants to have it, unlike you, who are probably dreaming of anything other than what you are face to face with, which turns out to be me. Don't worry, I'm gonna get you out. Take you out of this elevator and on down the street. Haven't you always wanted to leave this elevator and go down the street? Well, here's your big chance. And what's down the street, you're probably wondering? That's such a big improvement on life in an elevator. What's down the street, for your information, is a Chinese restaurant. Tell me something I don't know, you're probably thinking. Well, don't worry, I'm going to tell you a bunch of things you don't know. Like, for instance, how I experienced the Chinese restaurant that's down the street from this elevator. The certain consistency I came across while I was there. How the Chinese restaurant was consistent with other Chinese restaurants. In many ways, just exactly like them. The way elevators can be eerily similar. For instance, the fortune cookies, the little boxes. I've never had an argument with the little boxes. I don't see how anyone could. So practical, reassuring, compact, the very essence of compact, excellent use of space, architecture really, small buildings, townhouses, condos, beachfront property without the beach, unostentatious and filled with leftovers, a lullaby for later when you are free of the elevator, when you are never going back there, when you are finally on the ground floor. And they, getting back to the little boxes for a minute, are also the stuff of love affairs. The way you forget you have food in them, filled as you are with post-dinner appetites. The way you plunge ravenously at your lover as if you hadn't even had dinner, with that sense of infinite space and time, a sense you never have in an elevator. And then afterwards, in the afterglow, you see them again, the little buildings you brought home with you, and you think to yourself, they should probably be refrigerated, containing as they do not merely the benign soybean cake, but also the pork and the steamed fish. And of course they represent a treat. They are in fact the treat's representatives here on Earth. The part of Earth that is down the street from the elevator. This is how you know you are a first world person. You can take a date to dinner, make love, and still have one more sensory experience to go before you fall into deep slumber and dream of being trapped in an elevator.